Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Kofi Comics and I welcome anyone who's new. I've started a motion comic book because I think it's nice to be different. I look on all these YouTube channels and I see so many people doing comic books or mangas, mainly mangas. And it didn't sit well with me that I just come and do another comic or manga. I think when it comes to these kinds of forms of entertainment, I think we need to step out a bit more and not just to try and copy what everyone else is doing. So I decided to create a motion comic book, and it's called Shape. And Shape is all about a supreme being trying to create a universe, and you have these enemies called the Beset constantly trying to stop him or stop the universe from growing. So the Eternal himself formed a new race of celestial knights called the Aegeans, and their sole purpose is to stop the Beset from destroying the universe. Shape was created on the basis of people knowing who they are, or not knowing who they are, I should say. I've always learned that in today's world, the hardest thing for people to recognize is who they are. So in this video today, I want to ask the question, what is your shape? Many people have tried to figure out what they're trying to do in life, and the hardest thing to understand is knowing who you are. What is your identity? In this comic book of Shape, you have these celestial knights who know who they are, but they're trying to figure out who they truly are to themselves and to the Eternal, because it's very easy to follow. But the question is, do you know what you're following? And so they go on this journey of having to try and protect the universe, but at the same time trying to discover who they truly are. I've always wondered, why is it so hard for people to figure out who they truly are? And then you find out in life that you go through so many obstacles to distort the true image of who you really are. And so we try to find or try to figure out who we are by having to go through certain experiences. And then we end up in some form of a dispute or situation causes us to delve deeper into our sort of sorrow, which then leads into all forms of emotional destruction and get to a place of what feels like of no return. And I've always seen it as that when we try to do things on our own is when things actually tend to fail even more. Now that's obvious because we've been through it many times. We've seen it many times. We've experienced it with friends, with family, with, in the media, of celebrities, politicians. They go and put themselves into a position where they've decided, I'm going to go and do something stupid because I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Or they think, I'm the big great I am and I can do whatever I want. It truly is hard to figure out who you are because we don't know where we belong. That's why we have so many black people in the Western world getting upset, moaning and complaining about not knowing who they are because of what happened God knows how many years ago. But because time has passed, the world has changed. They now have the opportunity to change themselves, which then begs the question, do people fear change? Or do people fear having to succeed? If black people were to succeed, would that change their perspective of who they think they are? And the question is, who do the Western world of black people think they are? And the same question goes for everybody else, even myself. We go through relationships of, meeting with people, getting into relationships, and we think we We know who we are through those relationships by acting in certain ways. We think if we can get the approval of others, then we'll have the ability to change. I've never liked the concept of the power of friendship. I understand it, but I've never truly liked it entirely, because I think part of it has been misunderstood. I know that the power of friendship can help others get out of their depression and anxiety and all forms of emotional traumas. But at the same time, the power of friendship is only meant to help you up to a certain point. Then, when you're able to stand on your own 2 feet, then that's when you take charge of your life and you move forward. I think a lot of times we try to hide through the power of friendship. I think we get scared a lot when we find out we're supposed to stand up on our own 2 feet. I mean, if you look at the world today, the hardest thing to recognize is who's a boy and who's a girl. Why is that question so difficult? What is a boy and what is a man and what is a woman? Why has that question become so difficult? Why have we allowed ourselves to overanalyze what a woman is? Is the fear of being a woman, getting married, having kids, going through the pregnancy, having to stay at home, having to rely on your husband to earn the money, look after the family, and you having to sit and you think you have to sit there and do absolutely nothing? Do you think you won't be able to obtain the goals that you truly want in life because you have to be a woman? Do you think being a woman is bad for you because marriage says, or you think that marriage says you can't be who you want to be in life? And then the same question asks for the man. Why is it so hard to be a man? Because you don't want to take responsibility. You don't want to lead. You don't want to be in charge of your whole entire family. You don't like the idea of being a provider, of being responsible. Is it easier just to swap the roles so that you feel you can stay in a certain bubble so you don't have to do anything? Shape is about identity. Having to understand your identity. The Eternal has given each of these characters their identity. Some of them have accepted it, and some of them have rejected it. It seems to be the hardest thing in life, is people having to accept what their shape is. Some people are tall, some people fat, skinny, black, white, whatever. But to know what your shape is to truly understand what you're supposed to be in life and who you are. To truly know what your shape is to truly be fulfilled in your life. Because if you know who you are, then you know how to move forward with yourself. The power of friendship can't always help identify who you are. Sometimes you need something bigger and better. I've gone through many experiences in my life of trying to figure out who I am. Many were good and plenty were bad. I've embarrassed myself. I've made myself cry. I've been depressed. I've had anxiety. And it all came with me trying to figure out who I really am. But then you get to that point when you say to yourself, screw it. Screw all the problems. Screw all the issues, the anxiety, the depression. Screw all of that. And you just have to say to yourself, I am not going to be these things. The Eternal in my story knows who each of these celestial knights are, because he made them. Knows exactly what they like, what they dislike. He knows everything about them. And the only one that can show each of these knights who they truly are is the Eternal himself, because he's the one that made them. And I feel that's the same way of seeing it in life today. I think the only way people can truly know who they truly are is first knowing who made them. I know, it sounds like a very Christian thing to say. But when you think about it, where else can you turn to? The needle, the drug, the depression, the anxiety. You either want help or you like being miserable. There's only two choices in life. It's either a yes or a no, black or white. I think as we get older, we tend to start realizing that there's more to life than what's in front of our hands. They say someone who's a realist only believes what's in front of them. Someone who's realistic recognizes there's something behind what they see in front of them. I ask, what is your shape? What do you think on this earth you're supposed to do? Everybody's got specific skills. Art, writing, music, acting, maths, admin, sports, athletics, all sorts of things. And I believe the Eternal of this world has given you these specific skills for you to truly open up what your shape is. But in order to do that, I believe we need to recognize what our shape is and who gave us our shape. I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do, but when you've looked and turned in every direction, just remember, the earth itself is too far to be cold, and it's too far to be too hot. But yet it's in a specific spot where it's so perfect it can create life or sustain life. That can't be a coincidence. It's because even the earth itself has a shape. The sun has a shape. And if things outside of our bedrooms, in the sky, the stars, the black holes, they all have a shape, then we must have something then. We must have a purpose. So I ask you, what is your shape? And if you think, oh, you're chatting rubbish, maybe I am to the average person. But I know there's someone listening to this video who recognizes that they've got something in them that needs to be let out. And that's because the Eternal of this world has given it to them for the sole purpose of showing off what your shape is. Beyonce knows what her shape is. Jay-Z knows what his shape is. Every celebrity that is succeeding in some kind of manner understands at least a little bit of what their shape is, and they've managed to exploit it. And those that don't, they go into this depression, this anxiety, this low self-esteem, me, myself, and I. I know what it's like, I've been there, but you don't have to stay there. Look at yourself and ask yourself, what are you good at? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What do you enjoy? What's your hobbies? What do you enjoy doing? I, as you can see, enjoy drawing. And I've turned my hobby of drawing into something, my motion comic book. And as you continue, hopefully, if you continue to watch my channel, you will see the full story of shape open up. Because what you will see is not just the story of shape opening, but my shape itself. I'll see you later.